So it follows Trey Anderson and Abiola Bello. That is not her name. It follows Trey Anderson and Star Spencer. Nope. Star is the name of another girl in another book. Oh boy, get it together, Dominique. Like, get it together. Get it together. Okay. Oh my gosh. Why? Can I ever get a name right? Can I? Can I ever get a name right? Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique, but I go by Dom, and in today's video, we're going over my you know what? They're not really recommendations. Or are they? We're going over the books, the holiday books that I've read so far, and maybe you'll want to read because I have thoughts. Yeah. What I will say is that the books that I have read so far have been a little more diverse than what I normally would read. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. The first book we have is a YA book. I know. You know how I feel about YA over here on this channel. This is the only YA book that I've read for the holiday season so far. I don't know that I'll read another holiday book, YA holiday book, but I thought that it was worth talking about because I really did enjoy it. I should preface this by saying all of this is just for fun. It's the holidays, right? If you're just looking for something light, you know, ridiculous, because I have one coming up, and you know, just stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it. So for the first book, we have Love in a Winter Wonderland by Abiola Bello. I'll pop it up on the screen. I don't know if this book came out this year or last year. However, I never got to it if it came out last year. I enjoyed this book. It was fun. It was cute. This book actually follows two characters, a female and a male main character. So it is dual POV. The male main character's name is Trey Anderson, and then the female main character's name is Ariel Spencer. So Trey and Ariel both go to the same college. They are not from the same worlds at all. They do not travel in the same circles. Trey is a popular boy, and Ariel is like just a quirky creative who has like a very tight-knit group of friends. She literally has like two friends, so it's just the three of them. Trey's family owns a black-owned family-run bookstore that he works at part-time when he's not in school. So he has a love for books, and so does Ariel. Ariel is an artist, and she gets into a prestigious art program that her late father was also accepted into and attended. However, the tuition costs are astronomical, and she cannot afford to attend unless she comes up with the money. Trey's family's bookstore is actually in financial trouble, and this story obviously takes part during the holiday season. Ariel winds up getting a job at the bookstore, and Trey and Ariel both work together trying to come up with a way to save the bookstore in time for the Christmas Eve deadline. This story is fun, it's cute, it's drama filled, and definitely has a cast full of characters that are both likable and unlikable. Well, there's really only like one person that's unlikable in this book, and yeah, she was a piece of work. Let's just say that. But I really did enjoy this book. I think one of the things that I really did enjoy was at the start of every chapter, like I mentioned, it is dual POV. Every chapter started off with a song, a Christmas song by a Black artist on each of their playlists. So that was fun. There were actually some songs that I need to add to my playlist. It was fire. I definitely will say that. And I'm wondering if it's curated anywhere, because normally when in these new books, they usually have playlists, and the playlists you can find on Spotify. So I never went to look. I actually borrowed this book from the bookstore. I don't have the physical copy of it, so I borrowed this book from the bookstore. Since when does the bookstore loan books? I borrowed the book from the library, so on Libby, so I listened to it on audio, but I really did enjoy the audio production. I like both narrators. Two things that I want to point out: trigger warning for those who do suffer from or have suffered from eating disorders. There is mention of that in this book, along with anybody who's looking for a book that doesn't have a lot of spice. This is one of those books. I would say on a spice meter that this is like half of a pepper. There is mention of kissing, and there is mention of like sex, but there are no graphic details at all. The act did happen in one of the scenes, but you don't get any details. You just get, oh, the morning after, and I'm putting on my clothes. It was one of those. I thought that I should mention that. But yes, I did enjoy this book. It, like I said, it was cute, and it was a fun holiday read. So I definitely would recommend it for sure. I wanted to diversify my holiday reading this year. So I went in search of a holiday thriller. And I found a few actually, but I've only had the opportunity to read one, and that was The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. This book, or it's a novella, really. I love a novella, and most of the ones that I have found are novellas. I found like one from Frida McFadden, and it's called The Gift, which I'm gonna get into. I actually have it on my Libby bookshelf. It's only like an hour, so I could spare an hour. But back to The Christmas Guest. This novella was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous, and I think it's really only like a 3 hour listen. I listened to it on audio, but oh my gosh. Anyways, this story follows an unknown narrator. Like I have to read my notes, sorry. This story follows an unknown narrator, and the story is told like through diary entries. So as you're listening to the audio, you can hear the narrator, which is, I find, I don't know if it's distracting to some or like cool, like a cool little aspect, but you can hear them turning the pages of the book. And I've mentioned this before. I love audiobook productions, like a good audiobook production. I think it's so fun. But anyways, this book follows the unknown narrator reading the diary entries of, I assumed was like a great grandmother or something. Was I sadly mistaken as I continue to read? The person who the diary belonged to is an American student. She is in London going to Cambridge, I think, University, if I'm not mistaken. And she ends up spending the holidays with her friend, Ashley. Ashley is not a very close friend, but she does come from money, and she goes to spend the holidays at this manor. And then, of course, things end tragically. Um, I will say that the way that this story was going was, it was good until it wasn't. I did enjoy the diary entry aspect. I thought that was a cool way of storytelling. I don't know that everybody would enjoy that, but it stops maybe 40 or 50% way of the way, and then you get the perspective. Then it shifts perspectives, and then you get a better understanding. And that's, to me, is when things got kind of ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, I don't know about this book. I personally didn't find the characters to be like likable at all. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't recommend this book if you want if you want a good laugh, because I realize that college students, I realize that I have a tendency of trying to make things make sense when I'm reading a book. And it happens a lot when I read romance as well. This is a side tangent. And you ever, when a character is lying, you're like, but why are you lying? Or like, just things like that. And I try to make sense of what's happening as I'm reading. And this book gave me that. Like, there was a part in the story where the person who the journal belonged to, as she was writing like out her feelings about a specific situation that happened, and I was like, are you that dense? Like, oh my gosh, it was so, like, I, it, I don't even have the words to describe this story aside from it being ridiculous. And I truly, you ever want to shake a character? I wanted to shake her. Like, girl, what are you thinking? Like, that's what I wanted to do when I was reading this story. Anyways, or sorry, listening really. But yeah, that's The Guest by Peter Swanson. If you if you want, sorry, The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. If you're interested in thrillers and you kind of just you want to read it, I say go ahead. It's a novella. It's quick. And like I said, it's meant to be fun. It's the holidays. It didn't annoy me. It didn't piss me off enough that I didn't want to talk about it. So, yeah. Next we have You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Tony Shiloh. Okay, I need to start off by saying this book is a Christian Christmas romance novella. I didn't know any of that prior to reading this book, which I have no problem with. I didn't know that it was a novella until I finished the book and then I had to go do my own research. And I'm going to explain why it all made sense to me, why I got what I got from this story. Okay, this book follows Star Lewis. This is the book with Star. This book follows Star Lewis. She is the youngest daughter in the Lewis clan. She is actually going home for the holidays after losing her job and is going home for a Christmas Eve wedding for her sister who is marrying her ex-boyfriend. Yeah. Messy? Absolutely. She's pawned off. Well, I guess if you're reading the story, it doesn't come across that way, but she's essentially pawned off onto her older brother's best friend named Waylon, basically to keep her company while she's home for the holiday season. She's not super close to her family. I mean, she's not super close to her siblings. They all obviously they're all older than her, so they all have their own friends and they all have their own lives and different things going on. But she gets pawned off on Waylon, and Waylon is the new owner of his late mother's Christmas ornament store. This story actually starts off before Thanksgiving and then goes into the Christmas holiday. But while Star is home, she helps Waylon in revamping his mother's ornament shop. So that's how their story kind of unfolds. Of course, with Star's lost job, she's battling with whether or not she is going to stay home, obviously to pursue love, or if she is going to head back to New York where she was living to pursue a career that she's not really sure about. I'm not giving anything away. If you're wondering if I did, I didn't. All of that is on the back of the book. And yeah, so what I was saying at the beginning of this book, like I said, is a Christian romance novel, a Christian Christmas romance novel. Love that. There's no spice at all. I do believe that they kiss in this book, and that's about it. Half a pepper, like I said, for Love in a Winter Wonderland. Maybe no spice at all. But it was just okay for me. And here's why it was just okay. It moved along too quickly. But I thought that before knowing, oh, this is a novella. Had I known that it was a novella before reading the book, that wouldn't have been my immediate thought. I would have been like, okay, well, I understand. You know what I mean? So with that being said, you know when feelings feel like they kind of just come up out of nowhere? That's what that felt like while I was reading this book, and it was just happening so quickly that it wasn't making sense for me. But like I said, knowing that it was a novella helped, but it still felt very rushed in a way. Doesn't mean that I didn't like it. I did enjoy the story. I thought it was cute. If you like Christian romance novels, or if you are looking for a Christian holiday romance, I definitely would say give this a go. She has another one. I don't remember what it's called right now. Where's my iPad? because I think I have it on hold at the library. I don't want to count her out just based on this book. Um, One, it being a novella, so I didn't get enough, and I only really got like a little tasting of her writing style. She has other books, so I want to give one of her like longer books a chance before I really have like true thoughts about Tony Shallow's writing. The Christmas Catch, that's the other book. I'll pop that up on the screen. I actually do think that this has better ratings than You Make It Feel Like Christmas. The Christmas Catch came out this year, if I'm not mistaken, and You Make It Feel Like Christmas came out last Christmas. So, whatever. Anyways, okay. And then the last book that I read was Three Holidays and a Wedding by Uzma Jalaluddin and Marissa Stapley. There we go. Both authors are Canadian, and I wanted to make sure that I was reading books that were not only focused on the Christmas holiday. So, this book actually follows Christmas, Ramadan, and Hanukkah. But I would definitely say that Christmas isn't the main focal point. This story is also a dual POV. I think all of the ones that I've read so far have been, the only difference is that you get the dual POVs of the female main character and the male main character. This one is two female main characters dealing with their own stuff. And it follows Miriam Aziz and Anna Gibson and a medley of drama-filled cast. Okay? Let me tell you, there is a lot of characters in this book. If you were somebody who does not care for a ton of characters in a book, you may not enjoy this. However, I do think it's worth listening to the audio versus reading the physical book because you get the different accents, you get you know, you get a real feel for each character, and honestly, it makes the story that much more enjoyable. Okay, this book takes place in the early 2000s, and it just so happens that Christmas, Hanukkah, and Ramadan fall in the same week. When I say utter chaos, chaos. In this story, Miriam Aziz is planning her little sister's wedding, who is essentially just kind of sprung this on the family at like super last minute. And she wants to get married during Ramadan, which is a big issue for the family. If I didn't mention, Maryam is Muslim. Now you have Anna, who is kind of like between rock and a hard place, doesn't necessarily like her job, but it's kind of just like moving through life. She meets this guy and she thinks that she's met the love of her life. Both Miriam and Anna are going to Toronto for the holidays. Miriam to plan her or to attend her sister's wedding, and Anna to meet her boyfriend's family. But the plane hits a bout of turbulence during this like massive winter storm, and they end up having to land in Ottawa. So Ottawa is the capital of Miriam and Anna's meeting do not go off with a hitch. They wind up sitting together on this plane ride, and it's just one thing after another. But the bout of turbulence really shook the two of them to the core, and they wind up spilling their deepest, darkest secrets to one another. Miriam shares that she's had this lifelong crush on a guy named Saif, who is the son of her mother's best friend. And just so happens that Saif is sitting right behind Miriam on the plane and hears everything. And then Anna shares that she's just not sure about things, and has regrets. So that's how the story starts. That's how the story begins. And I won't say anything else. All of what I did share is on the back of the book, so no spoilers. But yeah, this book was really fun. I really enjoyed it. There's no spice in this either. The most spice you're gonna get is kissing. So half a pepper. What I really liked about this book was learning about Ramadan and, of course, different religious practices. Anna isn't Jewish, but her stepmother was Jewish or is Jewish. So that's how she picked up the specific religious or holiday practices and why she celebrated Hanukkah. But what I really liked about this book was that the main focal point wasn't Christmas. And that we got insight on other religious practices during the holiday season. There are two more books from this author that from Uzma that I would really like to read. My friend has loves this author, so she's only had great things to say. Aisha at Last and Nada, Much to Do About Nada. I'll pop them up on the screen, so if you're interested in reading it. But I did enjoy this story. I thought it was very cute. It was definitely very different because most of the holiday books that we read are typically centered around Christmas. I made it a point to find holiday books that were not only centered on Christmas. There are a list of other books that I want to read. If you watched my previous video, which would have been my vlog, you would have seen that I got the Christmas Tree Farm, which I am more than halfway finished. I'm hoping maybe I can finish this tonight. But the main character in this book, Kira, she is a piece of work. She is too funny. When I say this girl is so miserable, I love a Grinchy character. If you didn't watch the vlog, I mentioned this. I love a Grinchy character. I love Grinchy characters. The Grinch is one of my favorite holiday movies. So the way that this book starts and like her meeting Bennett, the male main character in this book, wow. Like she really was ready to chew that man's head off. But I'm at a spice scene, which I plan to skip. I don't care to read spice. It's just been like that over the last couple of years, that typically in books that have sex scenes, I skip over them now. It doesn't take away from the story for me. So yeah. And then I also got The Most Wonderful Time by Jane Allen. Y'all, I kept calling her Janae. That ain't her name. It is pronounced Jane. And I will never forget it now because what the heck. But this story follows two women, one by the name of Ramona Tucker, who's desperate to get away. She basically had a failed engagement and she has to go to her mother's annual Christmas party and try to pretend to keep up appearances like everything is okay. And then the other one is the other woman in this story. Her name is Chelsea. Her name is Chelsea. She is an artist, essentially down on her luck as well, and she can't seem to get herself together. She lives in like a Malibu beach house, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a family home, but she's on the brink of losing it because she ain't got no money. The money is done. The well has run dry for poor Chelsea. So she devises a plan to, I guess, swap places, not swap places, but swap homes for the holiday season with Ramona. But I think that's also her way of making some money to pay the bills. So it looks like she's maybe putting the house up as an Airbnb. Not sure yet because I haven't read it. I'm just going off of what the synopsis is. When the books, they got to fill up like from the top. There's not even a lot of space. Why the margin? Why? It just makes it. I like a well spaced out book, you know? Look at this. I love that. Anyways, I'm sure it's still going to be a really good book. So yeah, back to what I was saying about books, aside from reading the ones that are just strictly about Christmas. I do have some other novellas here. I have the Kwanzaa Brunch on Kindle. Um, I bought that on Kindle a couple of weeks ago. It's like a 90-page novella. I started it. The main character in that book sounds like a Grinch as well, so I know I'm gonna like it. And then another book that I got that talks about Christmas and Kwanzaa is a holiday. Oops, not a holiday affair. That is not what the book is called. A Mistletoe Affair by Farah Rashan. Do I have any books by her on my shelf? I do. The Dating Playbook. It's there. But I have books by her from Harlequin Romance. My Harlequin books are just not on my bookshelf anymore. But I know this author. I've read her books before. And that book is a Harlequin Romance. But I did get it on Kindle. It was like $6. So yeah, I think that's it. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about In the Holidays by Christina Lauren. I enjoyed that book. I actually listened to the audio for that at the beginning of the year, or maybe I listened to it in the summertime. I actually can't remember when, but I don't always read holiday books at holiday time. But that book is follows Malin Jones, and Malin Jones is another girl who is just down on her luck, hates her job, and is going to spend time at a holiday cabin with her family and I guess neighbors in Utah for the very last time. And nothing but chaos ensues the entire trip. And just as they're leaving the cabin, an accident happens and Malin wakes up and she's back on the plane headed to Utah. So this story is like a time loop and she just keeps reliving the same day over and over and over until I guess she makes the right moves. So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It does not have good ratings on Goodreads. I think it's like a 3.75 or 3.7. And if you're somebody who looks at that stuff, you may not want to read it. But again, it's the holidays. It's not that serious. It definitely was cute. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Everything's just cute and fun for me for the holiday seasons. Cute and fun, cute and fun, cute and fun. But yes, I think that is it. I think that's it for this video. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I think next I'm going to do my November wrap up. I can't even remember what I read. November feels like 60,000 years ago. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. What are you reading for the holidays? Do you read holiday books? Are they just not, does it matter? Do you just read whatever for the holiday season? I'm not doing a TBR. I actually have 4 arcs that I need to read and 2 books from the library that I need to get to. So I'm not going to overwhelm myself and make plans for books because TBRs equal pressure. And I don't need it anymore. I don't need it right now, okay? So yeah, as always, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all so much, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.